So guys, it appears Tinubu has been trapped in France as headsmen use Nigerians for experiment. So guys, we all know that recently the governor of Borno State came out to cry that Borno State is almost taken over by Boko Haram. We also saw headsmen attack in recent time in Plateau State, and just this Monday night they came again striking because they know that our security agencies cannot help us. There is no intelligence on ground as to telling Nigerians about these attacks before they happen. The security agents only arrive when the attackers have, achieved their goals and they've all disappeared. And none of them is arrested. They just come to, pay condolence visit to those who are bereaved, and the menace continues. So guys, a whole lot is happening in Nigeria. Anyway, let me just allow you to take a look at some of the reactions coming up as a result of what is happening in Benue State and also in Plateau State. Honestly, Nigeria is bleeding. And the president is having his time in France. Nobody is speaking. There's a huge vacuum created, and these Fulani headers are taking advantage of that vacuum because they know that they will strike and nothing will happen. There is no intelligence gathering. Nobody is speaking to the locals. Nobody is telling them to get ready because attackers are coming, and these people will just come in the middle of the night, spy them, disappear, run into the bushes. Nobody is arrested, nobody is prosecuted, and the trend just continues. Anyway guys, let me just allow you to take a look at these reactions and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Just take a look.
Now, Barrister, let me start with you. Again, in Plateau State, people have been massacred just on Sunday. A fortnight ago, about 62 people were killed. Now the death toll has risen to 51, still in the same Plateau State, in Bassa local government. Okay, the other time it was in Boko's local government area of, was it Benue? But within that middle belt region, Now this has been a consistent effort. Yesterday, Khan came up and said, look, we are going to conduct a protest. On Easter Sunday, Christians should wear black to express their dissatisfaction, to express lack of confidence in the system that is unable to protect them. Now, Barrister, the other time we had the DG SSS, Oluwatosin Ajayi, asked Nigerians to defend themselves because, as it is, the security agencies don't have the capacity to deploy personnel to all parts of the country. And he cited instances in Borno State, Azare community, where people mobilized and pushed back rampaging terrorists. And according to him, since that event like 7 years ago, terrorists have never attempted to go back to that community. Barrister, if you look at what is going on in the Benue Plateau and parts of the southeast, southwest, and all parts of the country, is protest the track to follow to defend for the people to defend themselves in all of this?
Mr. Okoro, we have allowed what is going on, and that is why it has festered for this long. Let nobody be deceived. There is a clear-cut agenda in those two states, Plateau and Benue, to be precise. There is no doubt about it. So anybody that is saying any other thing is wasting time. And the reason why these guys have continued to do what they are doing is because there have not been any retaliation or reprimand. The most painful aspect of this thing is that these terrorists are not from Nigeria. They are not Nigerians. I've said it repeatedly, and nobody has come to say it is not true. Because if they are from Nigeria, why do they take over people's home and left their own home? Is it possible? It's not possible for you to leave your own family house somewhere and you now come and take over another person's family house.
But Barrister,
and rename the village.
The best way to push back?
Sorry?
Protest. Going out on a protest. Is it the best way?
It's a waste of time. It is a complete waste of time. The people that are attacking you, they are not protesting. They didn't use protest to attack you. Look, this is one of the reasons why I like the Western world though. You see all these superpowers. Why did they call them superpower? You don't meddle with them. You don't. I'm not joking. They take an eye for an entire head. And that is why you respect and fear them. Look at Russia. Russia, Vladimir Putin fought the entire Europe and America, NATO, to a standstill in Ukraine because he doesn't want them to build a nuclear site at his backyard. Here, people came from nowhere, invaded repeatedly. The last time we counted is over 2,000 attacks in a particular state.
But Barrister, don't you think that Putin fought back because he has the capabilities? The capacity?
Okay, you that they attack, you don't have the capability.
No, exactly my point. Now, do you think that the people have the capacity?
They have. They don't want to do anything. What are you telling me?
What capacity? Because these people have then guns. Meanwhile, the assaulters, assault rifles.
So, you don't know how to acquire their own, Abi. How did they acquire their own? The people that are attacking you with a sophisticated weapon, how did they acquire their own? Go and acquire your own because they say you should protect yourself.
Barrister, we have the National Security Advisor. He came out to tell us the other time that, look, the majority of the weapons used by these terrorists, were actually Nigerian military equipment. So, do you still need to know where they acquired their arsenal?
Wherever they acquired it, it came from a source. You too, go and acquire your own. You have been told to protect yourself. That's what I'm even saying.
And if you are caught in the process, you'll be charged with gun running.
Are you serious? Then
I'm trying to let us understand how this
It is at that point that you are now calling for anarchy because somebody else. So the people that attacked me, why are you not arresting them? You told me to protect myself, and I've gone ahead to protect myself, and you're arresting me.
All right, John. Well, thank you very much, Barrister Darlington. Now,
we able to have intelligence gathering that can thwart these attacks before they happen? Is it because the DSS is overstretched or there's gaps in intelligence? What's your take on that side? Mr. Geoffo?
Well, yes, point of correction. I wasn't the DG. I was the state director. So
apologies for that.
Correct that.
Former state director. Thank you for the correction.
Yes,
Note to our yes, certainly.
Yes. Now, intelligence plays a major role in this fight to insurgency, and you know that the personnel of the State Security Service or the State Security Service itself is charged with provision of intelligence to other security agencies. Now, I've said this times without number that we are not lacking in intelligence in terms of supplying to the operations. But I take the case of Plateau State, for instance. I think it has become a major problem to everybody. Because before you solve a problem, you should look at, before you solve a problem, get a solution to the problem, you should be able to identify the causes of that problem. What is happening in Plateau State seems to have overwhelmed everybody. Because one, who are the leaders? They are not known. What are their aims and objectives? Nobody seems, we're all speculating, everybody hazarding guess, the governor will come, it's ethnic cleansing, others will come, it is issue of land and all these things. But I believe too that the State Security Service has a profile of some of these people which should be shared. Commissions of inquiry have been set up. What has happened to those commissions of inquiries? What is the outcome of those inquiries? So these are major problems that we should be able to identify what the problem is before we start looking for solutions. So that is the very, very key. Now, if you look at intelligence gathering, people make up, the community provides the intelligence. And if these people, the terrorists or jihadists, as the governor has classified them, come at night to kill innocent people, it becomes a problem. They operate, and I have not been to this particular area, but I understand it's a mountainous area where these terrorists occupy and come out from that place. Don't also forget that they cannot operate in isolation of some of unpatriotic indigenous of that area. So they cannot just come. It's a major problem that the government has to address. And I think one of the solutions I think we should look at is the issue of first line of defense, which was enumerated by the DGSS during one of our lectures, annual maiden lectures. That's getting the communities involved. Get everybody. I'll give you an example. I didn't quite listen to the general who was talking because of communication problems. But I can tell you that if we get the communities involved, they'll be more committed. A place like Plateau and Benue State, for instance, where we have reserve of retired officers, you get them together, form a pool at the local government level, at the state level, harness all of them, bring them together. They will be able to provide intelligence in conjunction with the state security service to fight this squad that is defying every known solution.
Mr. Jeffo, is that wait, is that okay? You just mentioned communities. I think a good example is the governor of Kaduna State. All right, he introduced a inclusive document to try to bring communities, foster communities, and put them together. And I want you to please emphasize that point. You just said local communities, LGAs, and state security services. Whose responsibility is that? Is that at the federal level or at the state level?
Well, I think it has to start, before I go to the different levels, this group of people should be armed, because if you gather them without the necessary arms, they cannot do anything. They should be armed and regulated by the police. Like I said, the professionals who are retired and still active can form the bulk of this group of first line of defense. Because if you say they should just go to that place and these people running riot come in with sophisticated weapons, it becomes a problem. So if you come to the level of how it could be formed, from the presidency through the NSA, all the governors could be summoned and given the need for all this without political considerations. Give them, let us form at this level, at community level, get the town presidents of town unions, you get local government chairman. At the state level, the governor is supposed to be chief security officer, but he has no control over the security forces. So if we get all these people at the various town, community levels, local government levels, state level, I think we should make some difference. We cannot continue to do the same thing the same way and expect a different result.
Hello, sir.
So we need to try. Yes.
Mr. Jeff, I quickly want to talk to you about funding. Where are we going to track the funders of this heinous crime? There's a government agency that's supposed to be doing that, NFRU. Have we done enough to track the funders, where the money is coming from, and to follow the money trail? And what happened to that case of some funders of Boko Haram that were apprehended somewhere in Dubai? What happened to that case till date?
If I remember, I think those people, the funders, I'm not too sure now, but I think they were tried and convicted. I'm not too sure. Maybe we need to cross-check that information. But it goes beyond that. There are still local funders of this group. If you take the case of kidnapping, for instance, people collecting hundreds of millions, 50 million, 10 million, and you see them, they are looking haggard, they are not looking unkempt. So that means there are people behind them that they are giving this money. So it has become a franchise. It's a major problem, and I think government has to take these issues of insecurity. That's not only peculiar to Benue and Plateau. You have cases of kidnapping in the northwest, the issue of IPOB in the southeast, the festering cases of Boko Haram in the northeast, especially Borno, that is upcoming again, this upsurge of this incident. So we need to identify the funders, people behind all these. So I think it's key. You made a point there, and I think our security forces, especially the state security service, should walk into it. But I believe that they have the information. Only we need to cross-check those information.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, Major General Danjuma, before we go, let's talk about this issue of how those who are captured are actually dealt with. I was reading an interview with Governor Caleb Mutfwang, which is in today's edition of This Day. I urge everybody to go and read it. And he's saying that in most cases, those who are captured are actually released. Those terrorists and criminals who are captured, he says that somebody from above is able to give an instruction and these guys return back into the forest where they're causing havoc. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience, Major General, of those who are captured and then released back to continue perpetuating these atrocities?
Yeah, thank you very much. And let me refer to the earlier question that you posed to Mr. Ejiofor regarding the terrorism funding and specifically the infamous Dubai 6. As a matter of fact, I was in the thick of it when we realized, that is when the government realized that if you don't address the issue of terrorism funding, if you don't address that, that is the oxygen that gives life to the insurgency, to the terrorism, right? You are just, you'll be wasting your time, literally. Because see what happened. We virtually decimated Boko Haram. The leader, the poster boy, then Shekau, who is not really the real leader of Boko Haram, died. He committed suicide. Actually, it was all engineered. Now, there was a group that was set up, a task force, the Operational Service-wide, and I was the commander of that force. And largely, we got intelligence from the NFIU and from other intelligence agencies. I reported directly to the president, the former president at that time, and we got a lot of hints, a lot of help from the United Arab Emirates, that's the Dubai government, regarding the Dubai 6. That was those Nigerians that were some jailed for life, some jailed for 30 years, 10 years, thereabout. And they helped us considerably. And with that, we launched that Operation Service-wide. It was called Service-wide because the military, the Department of State Services, DSS, the NIA, National Intelligence Agency, and the Defense Intelligence Agency were also involved, and I commanded this thing. And we carried out operations. It was a covert as well as overt operation. Covert in the sense that intelligence was used. We captured some of the sponsors, high profile, including the leader of Boko Haram. The leader of Boko Haram, not Shekau. They were detained for, I think, 9 months or thereabout. Every 3 months, then we apply to the courts for them to renew their detention orders or detention warrants. And investigation was going on. And then, curiously, I mean, those were people that were linked to the Dubai 6. A key Western government country partnered with us. We were in partnership with about 33 countries, and a key Western country gave us good intelligence, which helped us in our decision. And we picked, you recall, as I said before, the former Attorney General, Minister of Justice.
Major. Insecurity is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It is both internal and external. It's about the sale of arms and the sale of drugs. It's about the exploitation of the mineral resources in our country. For so long as this is not addressed, then we can never make headway. For that, you need a very, very patriotic and visionary leader. When I was with the Boko Haram Dialogue Committee, I sat with some of those that were in prison. And I would tell you that in the whole of Borno, There is no house in which there isn't a victim of the Boko Haram. I interviewed a 13-year-old at Giwa Barracks, and he told me that they were just picked up on the streets by this so-called Boko Haram, and they were trained to kill. They have an indoctrination in which anyone that has a big car, it doesn't matter what your religion is, he should just be killed. So what I'm trying to say is this: in a situation where your security apparatus have no synergy within themselves, that they are only mostly interested in what they get, and they are not even that, they are appointed on the basis of politics, on how close they are to the corridors of power, or whoever is selecting them, normally the president, is doing so not because of competence, but because of his personal interest and his personal protection, not to protect the Nigerian citizens. So for that reason, you cannot expect anything. So if we go back to the plateau, it's not unique to plateau. It's all over. It's all over the north. And it's about the exploitation of the mineral resources of northern Nigeria. Anywhere you see this kind of carnage, then make sure there's mining going on there. This is only a smoke screen to divert the attention of Nigerians from the main problem. Let me tell you, in Plateau, this has been happening for decades. They use the tactics of divide and rule. And unfortunately, for the victims and the perpetrators, they don't seem to understand that they have a common enemy. You cannot continue to blame. Where is your intelligence? I mean, what happened in Plateau is sickening. Before the so-called tit for tat, like the president said, the Fulani settlement was ravaged. Their outlaw was slaughtered. His head was put on a stick. So they went. I mean, what sort of a country is this that you cannot even preempt? That you don't even have the intelligence of what uses our DSS? They are busy eavesdropping on our phones. They cannot eavesdrop. They cannot tell us. They cannot tell the government before time that there's going to be this or that. So it's the total failure of both the military elite and the politicians. The politicians are the biggest benefactors of this, from the east to the west to the north, and wherever you are in Nigeria. You see, just recently, Zulum of Borno complained that some of the territories of Borno are being taken by the Boko Haram. But what happened? They busy lying, insulting him. What I'm trying to say is that the people in power, unfortunately, in this country, are such pathological liars. They all think that we don't see and we don't feel. That it's all about them.
If you can hear me, Aja.
What the NSA just said, having gone to Plateau, he said 90% of terrorism has been wiped out.
Aja, can you hear me?
He knows it's not true. But what I'm trying to say, no. What I'm trying to say is this: unless and until a government can take its responsibility seriously, it's not about.
I have to come in here, Aja, if you can hear me, so that we can expand the conversation. If you can hear me, so you mentioned two things I would like you to perhaps expatiate on. One of the things you said is that both the perpetrators and the victims don't know they have a common enemy, and I would like you to extensively identify who you refer to as this common enemy. And in addition to that, what has to be done?
The common enemy is the government that has refused to give them the protection that is a right. That is the common enemy. The common enemy is not the Fulani man or the Birom. that are both killed, that are both victims. Nobody chooses to be where they are. And the Nigerian constitution has given everyone the right to live peacefully everywhere. But our common enemy are really the politicians, because the politicians determine how the military work. They determine who is the IG,
just a moment.
What he is supposed to do.
Just a moment. Just a moment.
Look,
if you can hear me, just a moment. So, the people, for instance, in Plateau, are very clear on who they feel is their problem. They say the Fulani herders, and they say this is about land grabbing. Just hold on, Ajay. Just hold on, Ajay. Just hold on. I would like your intervention in this. So just hang on. Let me just land, please. So they say this is about land grabbing. It's about ethnic cleansing. We've spoken with even government officials that have alluded to this. So in your view, when people say these things, how best can it be tackled? Because the president, for instance, is saying this has been an age-long issue. You have to look for a way within yourself to solve this problem. The words were fairly and, giving it a long-term solution.
It's not my responsibility. No, sir. No. The responsibility, the primary responsibility of any government, like I said earlier on, is to protect its citizens. Why are they, in fact, assuming it's all the Fulani fault, how did they allow the Fulanis to continue to kill the indigenous people of Plateau? Why? How? Why have they failed to give the people of Plateau, like everyone else, the protection that they have a right to? It's not only in Plateau, it's happening all over the north. How many thousand people have been killed by bandits? In Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, Niger. You understand? It is happening as we speak. As we speak, people are, just recently, Truji, one of the biggest bandits he openly claimed that he's working with people in power. He said it. He mentioned their names. But what happened? They are occupying high places. Just recently in this Eid, he slaughtered 15 people like rams. Like ram, he laid them down and he was making a video of it. 15 people he slaughtered. You see, the point I'm trying to make is that it does not make any difference to the victim. It doesn't matter who kills you, whether it's the bandit, whether it's IPOP, whether it's the Fulani, the victim has been killed. So it doesn't really matter who kills you. What I'm trying to say is that the government has failed in its most primary responsibility to Nigerians. If you truly love the people of Plateau, why have you failed? Why have you failed to protect them? So when I talked of divide and rule, politicians have also used these bandits as political thugs. Do you know that? Yes, they are political thugs. When they fail to give them education, when they fail to even pay their salaries for over a year. I remember what happened during the governorship of Jank. For over a year, he was not paying salaries, but they were instigating his own people to look the other side and say, your problem is not me, your problem are the settlers. So what I'm trying to say is this. Both the victims and the victimizers have a common enemy. Their common enemy are people in government.
All right, Ajia.
They will never be allowed to see that because their attention has been diverted to religion and tribe. That is not the issue.
Ajia.
The issue is that you have no right to peace and to live in peace anywhere in the country. You don't have that right.
Ajia. If I may come in there, you said earlier, just after you made the point that
brainwashed.
This is happening everywhere, regardless of, not just Plateau alone. You said a bandit, admitted to working with the government and killed 15 people, slaughtered 15 people. Which state are you saying that this happened in? Just to clarify.
One from them. The media is part of the problem because they decide which victim to protect and which victim to victimize. We have to make these things very clear. This is the situation of things in the country. The government cannot continue to lie to us The reality is that we are all at risk. This is the reality of our country today.
I doubt that you heard me earlier, but I'm just going to go straight to my question, Hajia. This is happening also in other states of the Federation besides Plateau State. Can you hear me now, Hajia Najatu? All right, I hope that you can hear me in the course of this question. You said that this is happening not just in Plateau State, but in other parts of the north. But this is happening in other parts of the country as well, you know, where there are concerns about farmer-herder clashes, which leads to killings, more often than not, killings of those whose farms have been attacked. I'd like you to speak to that. In those states of the Federation as well, is the government the common enemy? And while you're reflecting on that, there was a video released recently of someone who used to be a member of the government, a senator of the Federal Republic representing, that used to represent Kaduna, who was addressing Fulani youths, and he admonished them to, you know, address their own Fulani brothers who seem to be at the heart of this conversation, who are accused of killings and kidnappings, that they are educated Fulani youths, and he's urging them to prevail on their Fulani brothers to desist from this. I'd like you to speak to that part of the conversation, Hajia, if you can hear me.
Look, yeah, I can hear you right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
You see, what I'm trying to say is this. Nuhu Rubado, when he was in the plateau, he said one thing that I think is good and which should be looked into. He said we have to look at the root cause of these problems. Well, what are the root causes? You have to understand, like I said earlier, that security is a multi-billion-dollar industry. How do the perpetrators get their guns? Where do they get their ammunition? Where do they get their training? This question was asked to the CDS. I can remember quite clearly. Who are the sponsors? But even the CDS refused to answer because it was too much for him to answer. Well, I'll give you the answer. Like I said earlier on, you have to look at things holistically. I said there's the imperial factor, the stealing and the plunder of our natural resources. There is also the local factor. The local factor which you want us to address is this, that why are our youth engaging in this? This is a new thing that is happening to us because Nigeria's demographic, over 75% of the population, especially up north that I know, are made up of youth from age 75 down. Oh, sorry, age 35 down. Now these are the uranium, they are the engine, they are the energy of the country. When you have 75% of your youth, age between 35 down, that are unemployed, uneducated, ill-informed, jobless, they become cannon fodder. And why did they get into this situation? So unless this issue is addressed, these things will continue because they will now start looking onto each other. Oh, this is my enemy. The closer your neighbor becomes your enemy. I want to have what your neighbor my neighbor has. But they are all pauperized. They are all in the same boat, but they don't seem to understand. And the indoctrination by our clerics, both Muslims and Christians, they are also agents of this chaos. So the government or the people in government love to divert attention from giving good governance by making the population kill each other while they usurp and steal our resources. I want to give you an example of of Zamfara, for instance. Zamfara, Katsina. We have a Ministry of Mineral Resources. What are bandits doing there? Who are they working for? The bandits are just the pawns for politicians and illegal miners. They are the smoke screen. I remember, now we have a Ministry of Mineral Resources, for instance. How much has the Ministry of Mineral Resources remitted to government? How much is our gold? Zamfara has more gold than Ghana. I have seen Zamfara government traded in Wall Street. How? Why? What is Nigeria getting? Youth in Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara are living in such abject poverty, and there are so many. They are not educated, they have no hope for tomorrow, and they have to eat. Tell me what they do. They become agents of these imperialists, and their local partners, their local clients, so to say. Zamfara gold is being traded in billions, maybe, of dollars.
If I could come in here quickly, Hajia, to get more clarity on this. You seem to be saying clearly that there's a connivance from government at different levels, complicity as the case may be. For this Tinubu administration, I'll tell you, well, it's 2 years in, right? This is something he inherited from the previous government, the Muhammadu Buhari administration, whom you're close to, I must say. So for all the killings, the kidnappings that we saw during that time, even on the plateau, hundreds were killed. Would you say that previous government was also complicit? Was there a connivance from that previous government as well?
It's sickening when people in power continue to blame their predecessors. For instance, I started Buhari's campaign in 2002. I've never denied it, and I will continue to say it. But the point is this: Buhari failed, and we never minced our words. Throughout his 8 years, I had never minced my words. But what hurts me is this: they continue to blame. Buhari blamed Jonathan for the 8 years that he was there. And now Tinubu is doing the same thing. But what I'm trying to say is that when they were campaigning to take over power, didn't they look at the problems? Was it just about their ego to be presidents? Didn't they have a blueprint for governance? Is it just that you come in, they are telling us they are less, they are telling us they are unpatriotic, they are telling us that they don't give a hoot about Nigerians. Why do you blame? Why did you get there in the first place? Why did you get there? If you know that you don't have a blueprint, if you know that you don't have the capacity or the ability to solve Nigerians' problems, why did you get there? Why do you sought to be there?
All right, Ajia, just a moment, Ajia. I need to wind down.
For what you cannot do.
Can you hear me, Ajia?
This is what Buhari did. And I had never accepted what Buhari did. So I supported Buhari.
Ajia,
I
can you hear me?
the Buhari.
Can you hear me, Ajia? Yes.
I accepted, that I kept quiet during the mutilation of our country that he did. Buhari actually, look, the corruption in Buhari's government was mind-boggling, and that corruption, that malignant corruption, is still here.
Ajia, just a moment. If you can hear me, I think we're maybe having a network. I don't know. Can you hear me, Ajia?
Yes, I can.
We just have about a minute. If you can answer this in 1 minute. So now, people are saying the people who are victims who have to take their destiny in their own hands. We cannot just blame government. There is a holistic blame to go around if you look properly. Sometimes there is with the political undertone in all of this. Now, in your view, as somebody who lives and understands the North, what is left to the victims? Because what we are looking for now is to stop the killing, and then other conversations can start.
Look, let me tell you, anyone who does not blame the government for its responsibility, then it's not serious. You know, everyone should be given the right to defend themselves. But what is happening today is that I can't own a gun to defend myself. The DSS and the police will be all over me. But I don't know how they allow the bandits. Helicopters were seen dropping guns, ammunition, and food, and all sorts of technologies to bandits. The government did not do anything. So the government is in tandem with this insecurity. Like I said, even the military budget is colossal. But what is happening into it? And there is no synergy between the security apparatus. There is no synergy between the police and the army. In fact, the military has taken over the work of the police. There is no synergy between the DSS and the army, right, or the Air Force and the army or the Navy. I mean, it's crazy. So who do we blame?
That's a fine
Do I go and be a military brass? No, you can't.
I think that's a great place
to
let it be for now.
Maybe people
there's still a lot more things that we need to take up with you, Hajia. If you can hear me, we're totally out of time, but I believe this has been a fruitful conversation so far. We have to thank you so much, and we need to have another type of this conversation in the future, because we're not talking about, you know, governance, politics, you know, the dividends that are meant to be for the people aside security.
So guys, what is happening in Nigeria is really so pathetic. The president of Nigeria appears to be trapped in France. He cannot make any statement. He cannot talk to Nigerians. He cannot even order the Fulanis to respect themselves as a result of this buying of people. Many people have been buyed in Nigeria in recent times. The worth of life in Nigeria is reducing by the day. Not just the hunger alone. Security is another challenge. People cannot travel safely. People cannot sleep even in their own houses safely. A whole lot is going on under the Tinubu's government, and this is the outcome of Emilokon. Somebody just woke up and said, it's my turn. And he wants to rule Nigeria. He wants to lead Nigeria without having any clue on how to face some of the challenges Nigerians are going through. So guys, you must have seen what is happening in Plateau State. Now, it appears the security agencies are confused. They don't know which way to go. They don't know which way to follow. They don't know what next to do. And Nigerians are the ones that will keep paying for all these their weaknesses. This is pure weaknesses. I mean, these people don't know what they are doing. Using Nigerians for experiments at the hands of the Fulanis. How do the Fulanis come into Nigeria? Why is it that nobody is talking about the porous borders? How do they? We've been told that these people don't speak English. They don't speak English. They follow the border and move directly to Plateau State and to Benue State. They don't stop in Kanu. They don't stop in Kaduna. They don't stop in any of those northern states. And northern leaders are all silent. They are all silent as headsmen use Nigerians for experiment. So guys, a whole lot is happening in this country. I just hope that Nigeria will be able to overcome these challenges, because as it appears now, there is no hope anywhere. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.